In the earliest living society, astrology was not a predictive hobby. It was a calendrical and classificatory science used to stabilize ritual time, social continuity, and inherited knowledge. Within this system, GOTRA emerged as more than a family name. Said for offspring or future descendants, go from gammon means forward and tra meaning parting, as in kin or lineage kin as it were a herd, also termed as Kula, recorded around the mid-first millennium in Chandogya Upanishad. By the time of the Chandogya Upanishad 1E63 AD, this system was well established. Kula is an accepted social reality of early Sanatana society. It reflects household-based social awareness in the culture already in linguistic records, scriptures, and archaeological resources. Lineage and birth are acknowledged carried to the following generations. A household or family unit by extension. A lineage or ancestral line, sometimes the status or standing associated with one's birth. It is closely related to other social terms like vamsa or a clan, also signifies traditional ancestry. Research by Herman Oldenberg and Michael Witzel shows that early gotras were not biological clans in the modern sense, but ritual lineages tied to specific seers or the Sapta ṛiṣhi, the seven sages. Each gotra functioned as a knowledge channel, preserving precise methods of chanting, timing, and astronomical reckoning. Anthropologist Frits Staal emphasized that Vedic traditions preserved procedure over belief. The gotra ensured that observational corrections were passed down without theoretical reinterpretation. In this sense, gotra acted as a memory architecture, allowing astronomical data to survive centuries without written tables. Astrology here was not fate-based, it was error minimization across generations, with a ritual accuracy depended on unbroken transmission, not symbolic meaning alone. Staal says Agni, the Vedic ritual of the fire altar, indicates intergenerational data continuity, both empirical and cumulative, relying on memory and lineage rather than written tables. The spread. Many stars in the Pleiades and the surrounding groups were probably born together, then separated due to gravitational influences as they moved through the Milky Way. This cluster is approximately 444 light-years from Earth and containing over 1,000 stars. A prominent star cluster located in the constellation Taurus. The Pleiades have played an important role in various cultures around the world, often appearing in mythology and being associated with agricultural calendars. They are mentioned in the Old Testament, Talmud, and are celebrated as Matariki in New Zealand. Various commentaries and texts were developed thereafter in Siddha literature, including works by Brahmagupta and Varahamihira, which further refined astrological practices. Taurus is associated with the Rohini Nakshatra bilunar mansion, one of the 27 Nakaharas mentioned in ancient texts like the Rigveda dating back to over 9,000 BCE. Scholars who analyze the astronomical alignments describe that Surya Siddhanta and the events of the Ramayana could be placed around 5,000 to 7,000 years, aligning certain occurrences in the text with specific configurations of celestial bodies, also confirmed by historians. This narrative takes us into a rich, older oral past of several thousands of years. This did not mean people believed stars caused lineage traits, but that repeated correlations were remembered patterns were trusted through ancestral validation. Michael Witzel argues that early gotras functioned as repositories of specialized knowledge, including calendrical and astronomical competence. Thus, lineage was not just biological, but it was epistemic. However, geography entered the system indirectly and gradually through Patterns of settlement. River-based ecology. Ritual mobility. As Vedic groups migrated and settled, lineage memory became anchored to landscape. As groups settled along specific river basins, gotras became regionally clustered, even while maintaining a shared ancestral identity. Scholars like Michael Witzel describe this as lineage localization without territorial sovereignty.
Geographic separation produced ritual micro-traditions within the same gotra, while preserving the shared ancestral name. Over time, certain regions developed stable gotra mosaics, where specific lineages repeatedly interacted within a defined landscape. This is where gotra becomes socially mapped onto geography. Gotras were not divided by drawing borders on a map. Madhvacharya, in his research with Puranic genealogies, especially solar and lunar lines, treats kulas as mobile lineages moving with dharma rather than territory. The same can be observed in the works of Sri Aurobindo. He treats kulas as carriers of symbolic and ritual knowledge, not static tribes.
Sri Vaishnava Acharya, born into a well-attested Kula, in Deśika speaks clearly about Kula continuity across space. Conceptual position from Rahasya trayasara tradition. Kula is preserved by conduct which consists in Achara, not by residence or desa. This implies, movement does not break Kula identity, lineage survives, displacement, sanctity follows practice, not soil. This is crucial for understanding why Kulas could move freely yet remain intact. A patrilineal lineage or clan identifier. Some communities have matrilineal or local variants. Different regions, castes, and communities maintain distinct gotras and naming conventions, and special attention is on same gotra marriages, which are traditionally avoided. Practices vary widely between North and South India. Vasista, Visvamitra, Bharadvaja, Kashyapa, Atri, Brig, Jamadaganya, Angarasa, and Gautama. Traced through the epochs by meticulous recording, it has been observed that Vasista lineages spread. Northwestern river regions. Vishvamitra lineages. Zones of migration and frontier settlement. Bharadvaja lineages, central sacrificial corridors, and Kashyapa lineages, later eastern expansion areas.
Classical Sanskrit sources like Grahya Sutras, Sarada Sutras, Pur a letter 1E47 and later Smritis and Indological scholars describe gotras. Standard Indology references treating gotra origins and development include works by A. B. Keith in The Religion and Philosophy of the Veda, F. E. Pargeter, R. C. Majumdar on Histories, Ramila Thapar on Societal Context of Vedic Early Historic India and Studies, in the Journal of the Royal Asiatic Society and Journal of Indian History. Philological analyses appear in editions, translations of the Grahya Sutras and the Mahabharata. These show gotra as a classificatory system that expanded by branching of upagotras, pravaras, and by incorporation of disciples. Inscriptions, temple records, and land grants from the early medieval period onwards sometimes record gotra, pravara, or Brahmin families' vamsa or genealogy attached to villages and agrahara settlements. These document movements of specific priestly families and settlement of named lineages across regions. Anthropological and historical works for e.g., scholarship by F. E. Pargeter, Ramila Thapar, Rosalind O'Hanlon, and regional historians that combine inscriptional, textual, and oral record evidence to trace them.
For rigorous tracing of a particular gotra's migration, you need targeted epigraphic genealogical research in regional inscriptional archives and medieval temple village records. Textual and inscriptional records show gotra names used as hereditary ritual identifiers and document historical relocations of clans and marriages. South Asian Brahmi and Kharosthi inscriptions and graffiti have been found at Red Sea Port Socotra, also at Baranik and Silk Road sites. These include Indian personal names such as Vishnu, Skanda Beauty, Mulavarman, etc., and Tamil Prakrit graffiti cited in publications on Indo-Roman trade, as in Dalrymple's reporting of Baranik/Socotra finds. Astrological methods do assign significance to nakshatras for character, lineage symbolism, or ritual timing. That symbolism equates closely to a genealogical gotra identity. Puranic and Dharma texts with calendrical sections, for example Vishnu Purana, Skanda Purana, include lists associating nakshatras with sages, progenitors, or mythic lineages in cosmogonic narratives. Additions, translations of Garga S. a letter 1E43 HIT or Garga Horashastra critical or regional commentaries can be an excellent guiding light.
So, modern genetic studies of South Asian populations address broader caste or jati, a patrilineal pattern, and validate specific gotra genealogies to named ṛishis. For rigorous tracing of a particular gotra's migration, you need methods that can observe the migration across generations. Through literary, cultural evidence, astrological methods can also assign significance to nakshatras for character, lineage symbolism, and ritual timing. Foundational Jyotisha text discusses nakshatras extensively with their deities and symbolic attributes through a systematic gotra, ṛiṣhi key, which is useful for nakshatra ruling deity correspondences. An important excerpt reflecting Skanda Purana passages that mythically ascribe peoples and stellar associations to Kashyapa. Say, Kashyapo Rajian Bahan Prajatan Pradapadyat, Tassa Santana Praja Sarva Nakshatrashrayam Anu. Kashyapa established many realms and peoples, and all his offspring took refuge under the nakshatras. Regional etymological and migration linking Kashmir and Kashyap to Greek Kaspapiros, or identifying Kashyapa with Western place names, are being observed by philologists. Relevant comparative motifs of flood and drainage narrations for centuries are an oral account of ṛiṣhi Kashyapa appearing across Eurasia. Scholars interpret these as shared epic motifs or parallel symbolic elaborations that are slowly being confirmed from archaeological and historian sources as research gets broader in its complexive understanding of our real past. To get real research, support by subscribing below and share to reach 500 people. Jai.